Has someone wronged you and it's been eating you up inside ever since? Well, on today's 5-Minute Focus, we're going to talk about how to be free of that very thing.
Okay, welcome everybody to this week's 5-Minute Focus. What a great topic. I know that I have experienced that. I know you've experienced that. I think all of us have experienced that. It's that time when somebody said something behind your back, somebody treated you wrong, and we all can identify with this.
Somebody cheated you.
They did something to take advantage of you. And on the inside, you repeat this conversation. On the inside at night, you just can't hardly sleep.
If only I would have. If only they,
I should have said this. I should have done that. And sometimes you even go into a mock conversation.
When I see them,
they're going to say this, and then I'm going to say, really? You think so? Well, what about, and I'm going to say it back to them. And this sounds funny, kind of. When it's happening to us, it will keep you up at night. It will stir inside of you. It can actually tire you out thinking about this over and over again. And I even know from my own personal experience and from talking to others, this can seem like it goes away, but when that person's name is brought up or you see them again 2 years later,
instant.
That turmoil, that anger, that inside. And today we want to talk about how can we get rid of that? And not only how, but the benefits. I mean, here's the thing. Ask yourself this right now. If you're going through that, wouldn't you love to be free of it?
To not be consumed with those conversations, to not be thinking of how to get that person back and make him pay.
Yes.
I think that's a lot of energy. That's a lot of work out of your day.
We absolutely can be free of that. And actually, it's in something that Jesus himself said, and it's probably one of the most misunderstood verses in the Bible. Jesus said this a couple of times in a little different way, but it's a very simple thing. And today we're going to be looking at Luke chapter 6, the very end of verse 37. He says this, "Forgive and you will be forgiven." Now, so many people think that has to do with, well, God can't forgive me until I forgive them. That is not what that means. Your connection with God. That means, this is what Jesus was telling us. Until you forgive that person, you will be eaten up with it. Until you forgive that person, you will carry that conversation. You will carry that burden. You will carry that story. How do you get forgiven of it? How do you lift that weight? How do you take that knot out of your stomach
turmoil inside
and get rid of it completely? And Jesus says this, you want to get rid of that? Here's how you do. You forgive. Forgiving that person will release us. We will be forgiven. The burden, the weight, the turmoil, it'll be gone. So if we want to know the way out, it's to forgive.
That's it. And isn't that there's probably a few reasons based on who we are, but isn't that like one of the best reasons why to forgive? They probably don't deserve it. You're going to tell yourself, they probably
they don't. They don't
hurt
deserve
you real bad.
Yes.
Maybe it's happened time and but for our own sakes, isn't that the why? So
that's the only reason.
Be free?
Only reason. You forgive, so you are released. Or he says, so you are forgiven. Don't you want to be forgiven? Don't you want to be released?
Yep.
I don't want to think, if this works, this is what I want to do. I don't want to be in turmoil. I don't want to be thinking about them again. But we tend not to forgive because we think, I don't ever want to see them again.
Yeah.
Forgiveness doesn't mean being best friends.
Right.
It doesn't.
It doesn't mean reconciliation.
Forgiveness doesn't mean forgetting that person's not trustworthy. That's not what forgiving means. Forgiving means I am going to let go of the payback. I'm going to let go of the payback. I am going to let go that I don't need to prove to them anymore. I don't want to pay them back. I am going to let that go. And as soon as I do, I am free. But here's the next toughest thing. How do you suggest I forgive somebody? That dirty, rotten, how can I do it? If I could, I would. How do I forgive somebody?
Yeah. The only thing that's ever worked for me is to remember that I have done, maybe different outcome, but I have hurt people as well. When I remember that I'm a screw up, it's easier to forgive people who look like a screw up to me,
I think that's so true. And I think if all of us just ponder for a second, we have all thought certain things we wouldn't want anybody to know.
Oh, gosh, yeah.
Horrible stuff.
You couldn't pay me $1 million to
share
reveal my thoughts on a screen somewhere.
some of the terrible thoughts we've had. And, you know, we didn't get caught for it maybe, but some of the terrible things we've done. Each one of us have said things behind people's back, and they never found out, and we just are so thankful they never did. Because, you know what, we wouldn't want to face that person with, did you say that to so-and-so about me? Yeah, I did. It's embarrassing. It's horrible. And here it comes right down to it. When we think that person doesn't deserve forgiveness, I think that's so true. Just think about ourselves. Every one of us have done things just as bad. We really have.
Yep.
And I know you're thinking, well, I've never done that
Not
that bad
thing.
You know what? Maybe not that thing, but there's been other things we've done. And I think the ultimate thing to remember is this. If we have put our faith in Jesus Christ, God has forgiven us the worst that we've done to him.
Yeah.
And that's really what Jesus tried to teach us.
Yep.
Jesus tried to say this, that forgive others because you have been forgiven. And you did a whole message on that once.
Yeah, in light of what I've been forgiven, there's nothing anybody could do to me worse than that. So that, not that it's easy, but it is definitely easier, and you can move through that process a lot quicker.
Jesus told a story about two people who owed somebody money. One owed him millions and millions of dollars, and he was forgiven his debt. You think he'd be so happy he'd forgive everybody? He went and held somebody by the neck and said, "Pay me, you owe me $200." You know, and like, you know what? You and I hear a story like that, we all think that's ridiculous. If somebody forgave you your debt, they just paid your house off right now.
Yeah.
And your brother-in-law owed you $100. Wouldn't you just say, "Hey, let it go"?
It's fine. Don't worry about it.
You know, I've just been forgiven so much. You can. So that's the how. Listen, if there's somebody in your life that really it's eating you up, the only way to get free of that is to forgive them. It's the only way you will be released, unlocked. They will have no power over you anymore once we forgive. How do we find the power to forgive? By remembering we have done things just as bad.
Yeah.
And we've even done worse things to God. We all have. Think about it. We've all rejected God to his face. I mean, we have. We've just ignored what he said. And he forgives us. In light of that, this person that's in your life today, think about how much more God has forgiven you, and you can be free by forgiving them.
Definitely. So we hope that encourages you this week.
Hey, we really hope that this video was helpful for you. If you'd like to stay up to date on our weekly content, make sure to subscribe to our channel and click on that little bell icon so you can be notified when new videos are uploaded. And if you'd like to support the ministries here at Access Church and help make videos like this possible, there'll be a link in the description below. As always, we appreciate your partnership in helping us draw people into a growing relationship with God through Jesus Christ.